What do you think happened over there that the startup valley actually got created here in Bangalore and not in Hyderabad?
I think what happened in Bangalore was supernatural. I don't want to make any controversial statement of that city versus this city because we are doing it for the country.
So we started out as an HR manager, and from there, being a product manager, then building your own company, being a CTO at a company, and then now leading India's leading technology park. Tell us about your journey.
So my undergraduation was in BITS Pilani. Yeah. Right. And I did MSc in chemistry and a bachelor's in instrumentation. Truly liberating journey was what I'm eternally thankful to the people who pushed me, my parents. When GE started its R&D center here in India, the Janquil's Technology Center, I was lucky to be part of the first few that got recruited for it.
How, what would be your suggestion or advice to these people who are trying to either move out of toxic environments or environment they do not enjoy themselves? What should they look out for? What should be their decision criteria in deciding where to work next?
Go into bad environments and was lucky to influence and make it better. And so I would say anybody looking at it, evaluate. Are you learning? What is the trade-off in life? If this coming and meeting some fellow just bugs you crap out of you, figure out an alternative, be smart, land safely. Go on.
Hello everyone, my name is Addeep Singh Mehra. This is When We Engage, and today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Sridhar Ramanathan. He is the CEO of IKP Eden. It's a knowledge park, co-working place, and an incubation center. We'll talk about the Indian startup ecosystem and where it's headed and all the opportunities that lie ahead for you. But first, let's start with welcoming sir. And sir, can you please give your introduction?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for having me, guys. Happy to be here and sharing what I know and hopefully learning from you on what aspects I don't know. So you are at IKP Eden, and IKP Eden is essentially the nation's one of the first hardware accelerators, incubators that were set up by IKP Knowledge Park ecosystem. Um, so I would, if I can take you through the journey of IKP, yeah, that would be great. IKP itself was a very interesting concept, um, started by ICICI to address the need of life science companies to get started, plug and play, the equivalent of that. So our journey began in 2000, right? 1998 was when the first movement happened. We got 200 acres of land. The then erstwhile government of Andhra Pradesh gave it to us in Hyderabad, and in the Genome Valley area, we have the science park. It's absolutely amazing, wherein we have global companies that are there, and you can actually they've all established themselves, grown themselves in that area. So about 2010, ICICI had moved away because of RBI regulations, and IKP started functioning as an independent organization. And when Bangalore, of course, as you know, is a startup hub, um, doing very well. And when we wanted to say what is the meaningful impact we can create in here in Bangalore, we did not want to go for uh, any incubator, right? IKP, for example, was the first, I would say, administrator of the Bill and Melinda Gates grant foundation money, etc. So when it came to Bangalore, we said, let us think of a hardware incubator and first of its kind. So we benchmarked globally other hardware incubators. My predecessor who set this up, along with our chairman, MD, Dipandita Chattopadhyay, who looked at what aspects are there, and Eden was set up in 2015. So you got us at our 10th birthday.
So, Sridhar, you mentioned that the journey of IKP started back in 1998. All of it started in Hyderabad, and historically, we have seen that Hyderabad, the Andhra Pradesh government, the then Andhra Pradesh government, was very much focused on creating a startup hub in Hyderabad, right? What do you think happened over there that the startup valley actually got created here in Bangalore and not in Hyderabad?
Okay. I think what happened in Bangalore was supernatural, right? I don't think, I don't want to make any controversial statement of that city versus this city, right? I think beyond it, I think all of it is good because we are doing it for the country.
Mm-hmm.
But from my own development, product development experiences and setting up operations and doing stuff in Bangalore, somehow, I think because of some of the DNA that we have, right, the knowledge economy that was already in the city. I mean, we could talk about Wipro, Infosys, and their alumni starting various things along with GE, Texas Instruments. When we're there, I think Bangalore naturally evolved as a tech ecosystem. My own experience in Bangalore has been no one looks for a benefit for them from a conversation. Right? People give advice freely
Yeah.
and without expecting anything. And if it benefits you, then I think it's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you go on to figure out what will actually work for you. So my thought is, I think there are other great ecosystems, but Bangalore has survived because of this absolutely selfless nature of collaboration, but somehow in the DNA. Maybe it's the Kaveri water. We'll take.
All of this is very much important because other states, namely UP, Gujarat, they've been trying to replicate this kind of structure in their own cities, but not very much succeeding. Right, to some extent that they have succeeded. Tamil Nadu recently invested a lot in their startup hubs, but it's to be seen what happens over there. Right, correct, correct. For a founder, what would you say Bangalore provides them over any other city? Or we are Vendo, we are a boutique consulting firm. Majorly we operate in India and Southeast Asian countries. And this conversation is for first time founders in their 0 to 1 journey or someone who is figuring out how to start up. What would be your advice if someone is, let's say, in Ahmedabad, right? What would be your advice? Why should they move to Bangalore, or if should they move to?
So, maybe not the answer that generally expected. So we actually work with companies, young startups, leg startups. Today the word is deep tech startups that are there in medical devices. One is in Chandigarh, the other one actually sits in Jaipur, right? And we are very happy talking to them, meeting them, working with them, and providing the ecosystem support that that they need. So I would say the core thing that a startup founder should have is an idea that can actually take the world by storm, right? If you have an idea and then you are comfortable being wherever you are or moving outside, that's really your choice. But if they choose to come to Bangalore, and my own journey has been when startups that I was a part of, it was in Delhi, that ecosystem I did not know as much, and Bangalore ecosystem I knew, so I moved to Bangalore. But the company, in fact, I was one of the customers for Eden at that point of time, right? So the point I'm trying to say is that it's not that everybody has to come to Bangalore, but make sure Bangalore is part of you in whichever, say, virtual or otherwise, that will allow you to grow, correct? Because the value add that you get in this ecosystem is quite good. I mean, it's incredible, right? It's not that other cities don't have it. I'm not making any controversial statements. I'm just saying, make sure, if you can, that a Bangalore is part of you, allows you to grow and kind of have a multiplier effect.
Got it. Got it. And are you a proponent of moving out of your city in your 20s or while you're building something?
I would say, again, it depends. Right? For example, if you're in a deep tech startup, talent is plentiful in Bangalore. Correct. Bangalore has established itself for that.
Correct.
If you want an office space and talent, etc., that is there, then you have to make the decision of coming here.
Correct.
Right? Because that's going to drive your business.
Correct.
But if tech is within you and you don't have to worry about that, then you can be wherever you are. Correct, right? Which is what some of the founders that we spoke about are doing. They're very happy because tech is them. They know what they want to do. So getting people, getting done work done virtually. I mean, COVID taught us that, right? You can do wherever you are, you can deliver stuff, and that's what people are doing. So I would not, I'd say wherever you are comfortable, right? For example, real estate is super expensive in Bangalore.
Yeah.
You could be outside getting stuff done at a much cheaper cost. It really depends on you, but I go back to the point that make sure you have some footprint in the Bangalore ecosystem because that allows you to access talent, get the required help that you require to make things happen.
Got it.
So there's a company called R&T Insights.
Okay.
These are two medical graduates. We got to know them in their second year, and now they are in their fourth year. They are actually building a deep tech startup which will look at endoscopy scans and find out whether it is cancerous or not. We were medical students. They do the coding themselves, and it just blew us away. They're in Chandigarh, right?
Oh.
And they are growing. We are catching the imagination of many folks like us in the country, and they're doing very well, right? Another company I would say is Axis, sitting out of Jaipur, looking at a benchtop cell counter, and the technology is quite unique. So great things can happen, not only in Bangalore, in India for sure.
And they're happening right now as we
Let's
speak.
see.
Got it. Sridhar, let's talk about you, right? Your journey has been quite unique. It is not a very straight path, right? You started as a HR manager, and like, can you read that? Is there anything again?
No, no, so there's a life before that as well. I cover that. Don't worry.
Okay.
So I reviewed your LinkedIn before coming to this spot.
Okay.
Right. I hope I passed.
So we started out as an HR manager, and from there, being a product manager, then building your own company, being a CTO at a company, and then now leading India's leading technology park. Tell us about your journey.
Okay. So again, in today's language, I'm quite ancient. So my undergraduation was in BITS Pilani.
Yeah.
Right, and I did um, MSc in chemistry and a bachelor's in instrumentation. And then in those days, you had the opportunity of doing a PhD.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and did the PhD. Main thing was, especially if you're going in a middle class background, generally you have to study more. So I said, after a PhD, thank God I didn't have to study more. It started off like that. But truly liberating journey was what I'm eternally thankful to the people who pushed me, my parents, to go do that. And I thought it's a spectacular opportunity. And again, you become a global citizen in that, and you get exposed to many things that you are not otherwise. Uh, when GE started its R&D center here in India, the Jankwelch Technology Center, I was lucky to be part of the first few that got recruited for it, and had a hand in building the Jack Welch Technology Center, which was inaugurated by the legendary Jack Welch himself,
Okay.
and kind of built that. So I was what you would call, even now, I guess, Six Sigma black belt. Out of the first four at JFWTC, teaching people how to apply statistical techniques, etc., in building products. That was extremely important, rewarding, etc. And when I was looking at what next to do, because in some sense I was away from my core PhD research area, which is when I met another great entrepreneur. His name is Gopal Srinivasan. Okay, he's part of the TVS group and TVS Electronics, and now he runs TVS Capital. Somebody who was just way ahead in his thoughts, and uh, the few of us had to always catch up to the level of thinking that he had with the best experiences, which is where he looked at what is needed. So I had this opportunity, among many things, finally to be the HR manager for engineering design services company. Right.
Nice.
So I had to talk about. I needed to know about all the analytics software, um, modeling software, etc. And I had the opportunity even to help set up the US operations for the company. Wow, spectacular experience. The next experience that I had was, I was looking at it and I was saying, I'm moving so much away from my core. So the calling was there, what next? Which is when an opportunity came up in a startup. It is called Metrics.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a phone call with the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Bala Manian. And Bala is a legendary entrepreneur in the Bay Area. So I literally called Bala and said, just Google me, and then we will talk. And That's the first time I heard a line like that. So I had to Google him. And it was very early days of Google too, right? So it was not a verb react at the point of time. And Rayometrics, very interestingly, they were talking to me for my HR skills and my analytical skills, which is what I had demonstrated before. But lo and behold, the Rayometrics was doing areas bang on what I had done my PhD work on. So it was a phenomenal coming home for me, and my Rayometrics experience even now is the foundation and the guidance of my colleagues and Bala still serves as what I would say the strong foundation that I probably have. I think I have today. And so we did anything and everything in Reometrics, a true entrepreneur's paradise. Nothing was limiting for us. So again, it's very funny because I was in Bangalore. We were doing tech. We were doing deep tech, but in life sciences, bio, instrumentation, where we actually built instruments. What time was this? This was 2006 to 2013. Got it. Right. So things were going very well for us when we had a call suddenly from day from a leading life science company called the Beckman Coulter Life Sciences, which is part of Danaher. And they said, would you be interested in selling your, uh, we are a core technology. It's called the dried reagent technology. Okay. Right. And there were several learnings that we had there. The dried reagent technology is what you do where you stabilize chemicals which are used for life science analytics in a bottom of a tube, and it can be transported at room temperature. There's no cold chain, nothing, right? And we were interested, and Bala and I've had conversations, which is when I also learned when to take and when to let go. So the big experience there was Bala said we should explore this because Rayometrics leads further runway. It may not happen in the time frame. And Rayometrics literally is his baby, and all of us are making it happen. So it was very interesting learning for me. And so we went with Beckman Coulter, and Beckman Coulter came to buy the technology, saw the team, and said, "Can we make an offer to everybody?" So it so happened that Reometrics left the building, and Beckman Coulter came in. So Friday, Reometrics left. Beckman Coulter moved into the same building. We had to go to the same office, but we were Beckman Coulter employees, and that journey began. And they're doing very well right now. Nice. And right now, so I'd stayed with them for 3 years where I'm more of a startup person. I realized that early on. So I was the first graduate student for my advisor. And that I should have realized I'm more entrepreneurial, but took me some time to say, this is what I want to do. So I spent 3 years with Beckman Coulter and then moved on out of Beckman Coulter to a friend of mine was doing this company called HealthCube, which is a device that you can carry in your hand, powered by a power bank. And we designed it to do 32 health parameters and including a full 12 leads ECG along with an interpretation.
Wow.
So I had the great thrill of building that device, right? And that was an exhilarating journey. Part of which was right at IKP Eden, which is when I became a customer for IKP Eden. I've been part of the ecosystem, but that was a great experience where we built it, we tested it, and then after the product was done, my role was kind of over. So I went and worked with Niram. I helped them their quality and regulatory. Then worked with JanaCare, building a next generation of handheld devices. Then one fine day, Dipanduta Chattopadhyay called me and said, Sridhar, you have been doing startups. Would you like to help startups? Vinkraman, who was leading IKP Eden, had joined an IKP startup. So there was an opportunity, and I said, great opportunity to make a difference. So that's when I've been part of this journey for 3 years now. So, but Eden is 10, and I've been part of this journey for 3, and it's been absolutely mind blowing working with smart people, executing ideas, and constantly thinking what more we can do.
Correct. With technology, right?
Yeah.
Um, from your journey, one of the themes that I can see is you constantly networking, meeting people that inspire you, like Bala and Gopal, and then deciding to join them in their hard tech uh, ventures. Right? And From my own experience, I can say that in 2006, hard tech won't have been that popular, right? It's it's still today is not. So can you talk more about it? The power of networking, working with people you like, irrespective of the potential gains, let's just say.
So so at that time I was reasonably newly married. So when I quit GE and I expressed my interest to join Harita, which was Gopal Srinivasan's company, my father-in-law had this look of what a madman this is, right? And I can say this, I'm just looking back, and I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs go through this, right? You need that madness in you
Mm-hmm.
because you need to be able to say, and I'm looking back and giving a safe commentary. Nobody knows how the damn thing could have landed, right? But I think you need to have that conviction and you need to make that jump.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, when I joined both TVS, Harita, and when I joined Geometrics, it was, I just couldn't sleep. I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There was that urge that is there. And when the opportunity again with Health Cubers, you had to do it. There was always safer options available.
Yeah.
But when the opportunity to create something and you have a chance to create something, right? Which is really what a startup entrepreneur wants to do. You know, that excitement.
Yeah.
I think you got to take it, man. It's YOLO. You live only once. And the people also matter, right? All the time. See, the culture is bad. This is something that we practice. I still have friends from Harita days as well as from um, Geometrics days. Yeah, and in Geometrics days, I was also part of being responsible for the culture. So when that responsibility comes to you, you got to do the right thing because the simple philosophy we had at Geometrics was, and this was applied at interviews everywhere, and this all came from the mantra that Bala had talked about, is you're going to be see each other in a startup environment 12 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
right? 8 hours you sleep, right? You have 4 hours for family.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like the person, and if you don't provide an environment where it is fun to work with, how will you come to work?
Yeah.
Right? It's very simple. I look at stories today of people jumping. You we have sold posts, and I guess your generation is a lot more open about it. Oh, I ejected. It will be a Twitter post, and five people have an opinion. But the point is very simple: is that you need to enjoy, and you need to have fun at your work environment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, oftentimes I get questioned, you're saying you want a work environment and do you guys work? Is it too much fun? So I give you an example in Reometrics where the joke was we did not week 30 weekend 35, 52 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
From week 33 or 34, we never had a weekend. We just worked non-stop into the next year because that was the demand of the project. And this was not by forcing people. There was no whip. We just enjoyed doing it, and everybody rose up to occasion saying, "This is what we have to do." So great things are possible, right? In the right environment. And I think that's one thing that I've taken wherever I go. If the environment is right, people want to be part of something. Correct. And that's what you have to do. When you go into leadership or young entrepreneur, you can't be a jackass. Just have to make sure that you are able to collaborate. Have people gone from Reometrics? Have underperformers gone from Reometrics? Of course, yes. You treat them with utmost respect because just because it didn't work for you doesn't mean they're bad people. Correct. Right? It's just not working here. Correct. So when you treat people with respect, I think good things happen. So it may not be flashy, it may not be, the angry and boss or whatever. But when people enjoy working,
Mm-hmm.
when people enjoy being in a team, magic happens.
Correct.
This is time and again.
Absolutely. So this forum is directly directed towards students or people around the age of 28, from college to 28. Some of them are trying to figure out which companies to join. Some of them are trying to start on their own. Now we'll first talk about people who are thinking of joining some companies, right? You had the great fortune of meeting great mentors. They might not, right? So Two-pointer question. Number one, how do we find great mentors? Is there a value there? And number two, what should they look for when they are joining a company or when they are switching to a different company for if they want to do something great in their life?
So it's kind of philosophical, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no good mentor or bad mentor. I mean, I'm just saying because every mentor or every person's life experiences, I've had bad experiences, okay? But because that's what you don't have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You take a rule from this. So there's a learning everywhere, correct, right? And I would say in the concept of looking at um, the luck that I have, and looking back, I can safely say is some of what you created. If you're genuine and you are willing to learn and you demonstrate that on a consistent basis, wherever you are, more often than not, good things happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because every opportunity that I've talked about that I was able to get, fortunately, was literally networking.
Yeah.
When I say networking, it's not that I went to say, get me a job.
Mm-hmm.
When I was looking at opportunities, I reached out to people who I had left a positive impact on.
Mm-hmm.
When that positive impact happens, then conversations are possible,
Yeah.
right? If the positive impact is not there, then it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as a mentor happening, I think you got to leave positive impact wherever you go.
Yeah.
So, if there is a young person looking at a job for whatever reason, right, secure, want to do, as my daughters told me, I don't know what I want to do. I will get a job and then figure it out. I think that's probably true for a lot of young folk today,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just we don't know yet. We'll figure it out, right? So I think that's something that I leave it to you guys to say what is there. But there is no magic in finding a mentor because there is no good mentor or bad mentor. You got to see whether is this what I would like to be treated? Is this what I want to do? Do I bring in positivity and value to the conversation? Which means you got to work the time you got to do that. And if you're prepared to do that, it will happen. Because who will reject value? Correct. There could be pettiness that rejects value for short term. Long term, who will reject value?
Correct. And if people want other people to succeed and they want to see people succeed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, nobody is out to get you, but I'm saying there could be petty people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all. Sorry, yaar. I mean, this is all not a movie here when one guy stands all the time. Good things will happen. If I'm very, very clear again, if you're not enjoying the journey, right, you should look out for other things. Because the idea of working somewhere, core geometrics philosophy, you're going to put 14 hours a day with a small startup, etc. Whether you like it or not, and you rather do it willingly rather than unwillingly. Correct. For that, it has to be a good environment. It has to be good, clean, positive environment. If that is there, then you're chill. You're made out. That's it.
Correct. And because you operate with so many startups, right? In this building itself, there'll be like 50 startups, right? And we must be aware of these teams, how they function, and everything. And you will have seen everything by now, right? How, what would be your suggestion or advice to these people who are trying to either move out of toxic environments or environment they do not enjoy themselves? What should they look out for? What should be their decision criteria in deciding where to work next, irrespective of the space?
So if I were to look at again, kind of put myself in these shoes, right? I worked in areas that excited me, correct, right? And in some sense, I was privileged to actually go into bad environments and was lucky to influence and make it better, correct, right? So you must have that comes from you, right? So you got to do that. And so I would say anybody looking at it, evaluate. Are you learning? You know what is the trade-off in life? If this coming and meeting some fellow just bugs you crap out of you, figure out an alternative, be smart, land safely, move on.
Mhm.
Life is short. You got to figure out how to move on. So it could be new technology, but it has to be something, especially somebody young at this time, once it's got to be something that excites you or you got to make it sure that it excites you, right? I mean, I can give, uh, I know a youngster who joined a big company, super bored,
Mhm.
but suddenly because this is not as romantic as a startup life. It's a dreary life, and now I find it without just once they soak into that environment, they are up to midnight solving problems for the big boring company.
Okay.
So finding that interest, that hook for you, is up to you, and you got to give it the time. A lot of people, it's not going to happen in the first 6 months. Life is going to be terrific. Sometimes you got to give it the time, find the space, and then move on.
Correct. And maybe not give up too soon, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can't,
Yeah.
right? Because if so, fundamental that I asked this person, is your fundamentally are they bad people? No, 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 they are good people. I'm just bored,
Uh-huh.
right? Now that's I see the change.
Correct. Correct.
I'm just saying you got to give yourself that
Time.
that time.
Got it. And excitement maximization over income maximization. Should that be a
At
criteria?
this phase in life, yes, man.
Mm.
When if the income, okay, there is no end to good income,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That is a balance that you got to figure out, right? I, I I can say now I took 2, 3 steps back
Mm-hmm.
when I moved from one organization to another, simply because that's what I wanted to do. Meaning, which scared my poor father-in-law even more. What's up with your pet? Well, so we did the math Excel sheet. Thing is, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. I had a very supportive family, and we made the jump. And it's a journey. And especially when you're not single, it's a journey because you have other people's lives that you are just playing around with. Right? And I've been very fortunate to have that support at home. Right. So I would say income maximization. Uh, you got to learn at this phase. If your knowledge maximization goes up, this value will come.
And knowledge maximization will happen if excitement maximization is there, right?
Exactly.
Exciting will go deeper into whatever is there, right?
100% agree. You got to be excited. In this phase, if you're not excited, and I'm telling you, you guys are in a spectacular frame of technology and stuff. If you're not excited now, geez, you'll never be excited. I mean, it's an amazing time to be around,
Correct.
seeing all these things happening.
So talking about at second lines, right? We are in the AI gold rush. PUs are cheap. Building has never been this easier before. And there's an allure to saying that you're a owner of a software company, right? Now, to those folks on the other side who are thinking of starting their own firm, building a software company might seem more alluring versus a hardware startup, right?
The real products, as we call it, real products.
Yes, because you're not a rapper, right? Anyway, so what is your advice to those founders starting in having these indecisive thoughts? And what would be a pitch to them to if they're thinking about a hardware startup or a deep tech startup to start there and not easily replicate the software?
See, it is something that um, I'm not going to say something that is like I can't tell somebody you cannot do this, right?
Mhm.
Because any entrepreneurial journey is a learning by itself. Correct. One of the controversial opinions I have is that we are trying to make entrepreneurial journey like a classroom. It's experiential, because you and your customer and your technology, it's very personal. How you sell it, how you manage is extremely personal. I cannot templatize it because I will lose out if I templatize it. So coming back to your question, I think every journey, as long as somebody says, you know what, I can do this simply, we can make some money, then I'm in a position to take a bigger risk. Right? Great. Right? Or I have enough stability in life, financially or otherwise, for me to take a jump to do a hardware company, which is scary. You have to build, right? I can take that risk. Then I would say go for it. Because I mean, nothing like building and touching, feeling your product. Correct. Right? It's an incredible experience. Google pops up these photographs of memory, etc. And part of the health cube team, there's this photo of me that I was holding two of the babies that had just come out. It's even now, in our core tech team, we all have it's a good feeling about it. We really shared that We created the base. Correct. Correct. So I would say that it is an exhilarating experience. The thing about hardware startups, right? It takes time. Yeah. Right. If you have the I was talking about a couple of startups that I'm aware of, very smart people, great teams. 15 years it's taken for them to come to a point of global recognition. Correct. Right. It takes that time, and you must have the courage of conviction to say, I am here, buddy. I'm going to run this. Right? And as in any startup, they go through absolute pits, right? But they all pursued. And then now they are beginning to see the benefit of that. Correct. Of the lessons that I would say that I have learned from their journeys, which is what happens in an ecosystem you can watch. Correct. You can always second guess, but I'm trying to say, are there better ways by which I can get to where they would have gone, faster, resource, by not spending as much resources, spending as much resources. And I think that the answer is yes. But that's what, an ecosystem can do, where you can learn from others. The idea that, again, good entrepreneurs tell you is, don't make those mistakes. And you can make new mistakes. Correct. Old mistakes, avoid. Right. So when you're running with a hardware company, I think you have cash, which is king, which nobody teaches you. And how are you going to manage your cash? I know stories of companies that have literally turned over because they invested in holding inventory, and COVID hit, and they had to literally turn things down. Right. So nobody talks about, and everybody, there are several strategies that one knows now, right? That this ecosystem itself has developed, that you should apply and figure out, is how do I keep cash in the bank? How do we do what a customer wants, not an art project where we keep on discovering? If you get that discipline in, I think we can do better. But a hardware journey is not equivalent to a software journey. Correct. I'm not saying that's easy. I'm just saying this is definitely a different animal altogether. Correct. You just have to, if you have an idea, again, if it keeps you awake at the night, you've got to do it.
Hmm. That will bring up my next question, right? How should someone decide between starting a hardware? I have a hardware idea that I want to implement, but I also have a software idea. In my mind, the math says that software is easier to implement. People are more readily accepting of it. In hardware, I have to have an entire team, rent out a space, take a lot of inventory, invest a lot of my own money, and then I don't even know if it will succeed or not, right? So, what will be your advice to those founders?
See,
B2B founders.
if you are lucky and you have both ideas,
Uh huh.
right? One thing that I've learned, even the best software product idea doesn't succeed if the entrepreneur does not make the right adjustments. Correct. Going along the way. Correct. Because one, as we know, a software is something that you can actually, somebody could mimic it very fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We've had plenty of stories, successful stories in India too, of that. So you can mimic it, you can take it away. Any of those is possible. However, I do believe that this journey, being an entrepreneur, is that experiential journey. If you have two ideas, good for you, right? If you are able to monetize idea number one, which is a software idea, where you don't have to do this, so you got to get your Excel sheets ready. You got to see where, what, how. Then I personally would say, if you can monetize that in the 3-year time period, and your other idea can wait, then explore that, right? But if you think that the other idea in the longer term is going to get you better return on investment, and it is something so unique, you have a window of opportunity, you need to crack it, you got to figure out how you're going to do that, right? Or if you are amazing, since you have two ideas, do both and find out how hard it is to be even one. So I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. Again, Bala, the mentor I talked about, had two companies. He in Bay Area. So one was a product idea going in one way, the same platform idea going another way. He was the CTO sitting in the center office.
Wow.
So left side and right side, possible. These are all people have done it, right? So if you have the idea, But I would say the key point, and maybe it's something that you would talk about, is you need to have a team,
Mm.
right? You can't be the lone ranger.
In hardware startups or both?
Both, man. See, today people think one person doing the world. Well, they're all rare stories. You need to have team. It's teams that makes a difference. A good team, and then today's world, investors happy because they have de-risked the whole idea. And today, I would say I've seen a few founders who are still very holding on to the company, the cap table, etc. How does that will happen if you don't have a team that's not motivated? That's literally going to work for pittance, right? And they have some motivation. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. A lot of us joined. I would say when I say a lot of us, a whole bunch of us joined the Reometrics bandwagon. We are all taking cuts because we believed. And yeah, yeah, and that's why we made it to what it was. Nobody ditched. Everybody is
I don't know. That is the most important thing.
yeah, nobody did because everybody knew.
Yeah.
And we encourage people to leave if they have a better opportunity. And that's the way it was. And people have all done very well.
Got it. Just one note. Add in an example of how Nvidia, being a hardware startup, still has a very big moat. Nowhere in the world is able to replicate them. Versus a software AI like OpenAI, which was the king for like 2 years, their moat got dissipated easily as soon as
Overnight, right?
overnight. Yeah.
So, okay. So the thing about a hardware company is that you have a moat. I mean, I think we all know the NVIDIA example. Yeah. So you have a moat which is difficult. But let us assume you're not an NVIDIA even, not any hardware company, and as long as you protect it, right, has a moat that is difficult for others to easily jump. Correct, right? A software may not be the case, right? We can open AI, etc. You know, so there are several options that just uh, popped up like that. But to be honest, in to have their kind of data centers and the whole power, this thing that is there, so you never know, right? And how that is going to pan out. So I would say, honestly, a product, it's good to have a moat. And a hardware gives you that, as opposed to a software. Correct. In case there is no moat, right? You have to figure out how to execute with speed. Correct. Because then by the time somebody comes in, you've already gone. Correct. Right. And I think that's very important. A lot of times I find a lot of founders over analyzing and thereby losing that window of opportunity to make a difference. I think that's something that folks have to keep in mind.
Got it. Now we're talking because you run a deep tech incubator in IKP Eden. Let's talk more about the 10-year journey of a general hardware founder and team. How will it look like from year 1 to year 10? Where will the pitfalls come? How hard is it going to be? So that people who are thinking of starting in this have a better idea as to what's awaiting them.
A great question, right? The reason I say that is that is also beautifully evolving in our country. I would know a lot of the hardware companies that were at Eden, really started, they were all shooting in the dark a little bit. No disrespect to them, but they were also starting in the journey. We had drone startup, robotic startup companies, etc., who were all trying to figure out what's the best way to navigate this space. Correct, right? I would say to the other companies also that I said, medical devices, everybody was learning that space because it didn't exist before. And they were creating it, they were learning it. Folks like, I would say, my own Health Cube example, that I was privileged to be a part of. When we came and when we started, it was 5 years from late 20 to 2017 time frame. There was already existing knowledge, right? So we were able to leverage that to say we didn't have to do all their mistakes, but we knew now particular things. So what I'm trying to say is that today there is knowledge for a startup founder in a hardware space if they apply their minds and if they listen to the wind, right, and take some of that before they spend their cash, etc. there is a very good probability that they can skid more on the valley of death. They don't have to go deep dive and say, I'm dead. Yeah, right. They can actually navigate it. There's a much higher probability. So, a hardware startup founder is going to be making these products, um, taking it out to customer, etc. And our hypothesis is that the longer you take to actually show it to a customer, the deeper you are digging yourself in a grave. Correct, right? Because this is there is nothing called a perfect product, and especially it's true for software. Otherwise, you'll never have version releases. It is true for hardware. Correct. The moment you are able to recognize that there is nothing like a perfect product, you're willing to get critiques, sometimes criticism on your device and the method that you come up with, etc., you have a much better chance of success. Right. So a startup founder goes through this staggering, and because they'll have to also convince people to say you got to invest in this idea. Because it needs that oxygen tank for it to take off. So all of those is something that they figure out in the first 2 to 3 years, 4 years maybe. Right. Once they have some takeoff and there is a converted list, they're early believers, etc. Then we have seen startup hardware companies kind of expand in size, their teams grow, and they're able to then add more complexities to their product. And then they are able to go to their subsequent fund rounds or whatever, if you will. But I do believe that uh, hardware startups have to have some kind of definite milestones that they have to hit, and if possible, fold it earlier. I'd say, how do I get feedback? How do I change? How do I get feedback? How do I change? The more nimble footed they are, I think there's much better chance for them to succeed.
Got it. So, next up, sir, there are a lot of founders who want to start hardware founders, and there are generally their motivations are varied, right? But it is very much important for them to understand what this journey looks like, right? So, if you could lay out a 10-year sort of a journey of generally a deep tech or a hardware founder, what would that look like?
So, first off the bat, right? If you're doing a product,
Mm-hmm.
and IKP is one of the first hardware incubators.
Mm-hmm.
So here we say where you make real products, right? So one would say that it is a very, very tough journey. And I've literally, thanks to Eden and the role that I
Mm-hmm.
play, have had the privilege of seeing these amazing people,
Mm-hmm.
super resilient, and trying to make that difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because doing a hardware product is not easy,
Correct.
right? And they are not doing flippant stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing stuff that matters, genuine, and it's quite deep,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And that is why I always have super respect for them,
Mm-hmm.
because they are the real ninjas, if you will, right? Um, so coming to a hardware journey, I can share from whatever we have done and my
Mm-hmm.
experiences, plus or minus a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And so essentially, when you have an idea, right,
Mm-hmm.
you want to build something,
Mm-hmm.
right, and having some kind of a process background helps in this place,
Got it.
right? Because I think it is super useful, and it's easier said than done. I think it's super useful to visualize the journey and the critical milestone one needs to hit,
Correct.
right? And once you know where you are headed,
Mm-hmm.
it can't be blue sky,
Correct.
right? And so once you have an idea, and you should come with some money
Mm-hmm.
that you are able to have access to. So some cases it could be small grants that people give you. For example, I know we do something called Future Stars, where we do 5 lakhs, something like that. That we invite ideas to come. We say breakthrough ideas. Share with us what you want to do. Not everybody is going to win that,
Mm-hmm.
right? It takes some time. You'll have to, because telling the story is easy, but telling a story in a matter where somebody else believes in your story is the skill that has to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
If you are an entrepreneur, there are two options. You either get a suitcase full of cash and do your own entrepreneurship, or you learn to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because as an entrepreneur, you have to sell,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you don't sell, you're not an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So you may be the amazing tech talent, then get somebody who sells.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's true for any startup. even more important for hardware startups because funding is tough.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you look at some of the programs I shall not name, they look at, baked jalebi and dishes like that. It's not deep. The
Mm-hmm.
country really needs a difference where you look at deep tech.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
When I say deep tech, that is a strong in technology,
Mm.
digs deep, makes an impact to our population.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you are not able to do that, right, then I think it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of our hardware startups are thinking like that. They want to make the damn impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, sorry, I get passionate about it because these guys deserve the breaks that they need to get.
Correct.
And sometimes it's difficult because you just lost to somebody who used an air fryer and made a new kind of corn puff. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And
Correct.
not to go on the quote that our startup minister had talked about,
Mm-hmm.
what Chinese companies do and versus what Indian companies do. Place like Eden is a great example where we try to do deep step.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the ecosystem has to also support that. See, if you put a product out in India,
Mm-hmm.
you get tested like nobody's business.
Correct.
Right? Because every aspect of the business
Mm-hmm.
that you will learn, right? I can tell from my own example. The customers who loved you when you demoed the product refuse to buy it from you.
Correct.
They will say, if you're going to give it for free, why don't you give me 2 pieces?
Mm-hmm.
It's this kind of a approach that happens there. And one, I've heard people, the environment should be more generous. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So startup founders today are very resilient,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you need to build in that resilience when you're coming to play this game. It toughens up you. It really is a great experience, but you become a better person at the end of this whole journey.
Correct. So I am a hardware founder and I am in Ludhiana. I've seen world grade sporting manufacturing stuff made there, right? All my life. I want to build a glucose monitor that is very, very cheap. Just an example. I don't know the
Sure.
semantics of it. From having this idea to actually getting this product built, what should be the intermediate steps and how much money ideally should I have in my hand before the external uh, venture fund comes in, or any person who's ready to put in the money?
Sure. Again, let's go through the hypothetical example, right? Let us say you are in an environment which works at a completely different domain, tech area, etc.
Correct.
You want to fulfill an opportunity that you think isn't there.
Correct.
Right? You have to be the master of the technology and the
Correct.
domain, right? If you don't prep yourself, if you don't get yourself into the tech, and I definitely advise startup founders, you can't say that is out of syllabus, you'll have to ask somebody else, right? You really have to know the tech.
Correct.
Period.
Correct.
Right? So which means you need to know how to assemble, disassemble, what is the technology, because let's say a glucometer has got electronics in it, it's got chemistry in it, it's got a manufacturing process which is very different. It's electrochemistry typically that you would do. So you need to understand what these technologies are and how their interplay is. Or you may say, no, I'm going to make a watch based glucometer because so many cheap stuff coming from China. So that decision, right?
Correct.
Am I going to make it based on infrared sensors? How is that going to be different? What kind of environments you need to go through? I think you really have to go through that today. And the great thing today is you are democratized for access. Before you need to talk to an expert.
Correct. Correct.
Today you need to have the right access to the particular tool. I would say any of these tools, let's say ChatGPT, Perplexity, and amongst those you can ask deeper and deeper question, and it collates and gives you answers. So you are not that differentiation of knowledge, because you have access, you can at least educate yourself, you can upskill yourself in that particular space. Then before you spend 1 paisa, right, because you need to know how much paisa.
Correct.
Before you need to spend 1 paisa, you need to look at that particular roadmap that I think you should have. Right? What are the milestones you need to have?
Correct.
and you need to look back and saying how much money do I need for
Correct.
that could be raw materials, people cost, all of these. Till now I have not spent 1 rupee. Maybe I have a subscription of
ChatGPT.
chat gpt, it's like what, $500 a month today. Or if you are a Airtel customer, then you have perplexity free for a year.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, but it's accessible, it's not obscene wherever. So once you have that knowledge and you are able to look at these costs that is there, and more, I would recommend you should have at least 3 times that money, 2 to 3 times that money. If you think according to your calculations, X is the money that you need to have, plan to have 3x, because S will hit the F, right? That's going to happen. So you got to, and a lot of times what I see is people are not prepared for that. And they make it a blue sky project, and then they run out of money. We have funded people who are on a random journey. It's not focused on where they're going to go. We can't help them beyond a point.
Correct.
Right? So that laser sharp focus, and I mean, there are a couple of founders, you will never know they're first time founders. They're so laser focused. They're so in touch with their technology that they amaze me. I'm not like that. I mean, some random journey will happen. So I know what I'm not. These guys are spectacular. So they are inspirational examples, right? I would say a good founder should not spend money before they know how much they're going to
Cost.
how much is going to broadly cost. So if you are starting a glucometer company sitting in Ludhiana today, you need to evaluate which tech, what is the deal, and all of this you should be able to do within 2 to 3 weeks. What's the money because data, that knowledge is available.
Correct.
And you need to have a candle to burn it. You got to burn the midnight candle to get to where you want to go. Then you know whether it's possible or not. You need to have a budget. You need to have the fastest way to reach to your proof of concept prototype.
3x the money that you researched.
My thumb rule, right? I'm just saying because shit is going to hit the fan.
Correct. A good team.
Or at least for at least if you cannot afford a team, place where you can build it, even if you're going to get it done outside.
Correct. Laser sharp focus on what is it that you want to build, and obviously the ethics or the best practices of business prevail. You need to know everything, and nothing should be a surprise to you in your business, right? Now, from there to getting your first product in the hands of either the investors, testers, or your ideal customers, what is the timeline that we're looking at?
So you have to, let us assume you take about 6 months, right, to get your proof of concept. This is going to hunt. 3 to 6 months. Right? That's the time. I mean, it could depend on the technology, because sometimes what happens is some of the technologies require a lot more research. Right? So one does not want to be flippant about it. And you're going to make mistakes learning several things. So let's assume a timeline of 6 months, 1 year. But if the longer it takes, you need to make sure you have to have the money for that.
Correct.
Right? Because otherwise, you need to have a rich uncle, if you're not yourself rich, to mobilize the cash to get started. Because nobody is going to fund you at that point of time.
Correct.
Which is where I see very smartly a lot of people go win these competitions to get themselves some cash that will allow them to pursue their dream. Right? And there are a lot of incubators or places which give you space for free. There's a lot of stuff that's a good thing that's happening in our country.
Correct.
Right? So from there, you need to figure out, and my opinion, right or wrong, I don't know.
Yeah.
The faster you get it in the hands of your customer, right? Where you are able, not the customer you would want, but the real customer. So we developed a product which we thought is gift to doctors. It's amazing. And the doctors we spoke to are the thought leaders. They're not really the customers.
Correct.
Right? I think putting it in the hands of potential customers, whatever the nice technical term for that is going to be crucial for you.
Correct.
Right? In this journey, you will get feedback from investors, who some will be interested. It could be angels that you excite, etc. But winning that interaction moment with the customer, where the customer says, "Hey, this is amazing. This is easy. Right? This is making a difference for me."
Correct.
Capturing that, because today everything is social media.
Correct.
Capturing that and sharing it with potential partners is a big win. That's an aspirational milestone to have.
One more thing that can be said is prototyping. Prototyping costs money. It takes some time, and obviously you'll need some experts in between all that time, right? Would there be a suggestion to maybe start a wait list, something that we have seen in the West? The recent example that comes to my mind is a minimal phone, right?
Hmm.
E-reader display, keypad,
Hmm.
physical, a phone, right? They started a wait list a year back, and now they are in
Correct. You're
shipping.
basically getting money advance.
Correct, correct. So, would you suggest something like that?
If you, it's up to your conviction, right?
Hmm.
The West is more inclined to that.
Correct.
I did try it for an Indian product where I rebooked it.
Mm-hmm.
I was not too thrilled with the output of what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just me. Maybe I'm just too old for this. But I'm just saying it depends on the environment that you are in. There may be people where you are looking at this that is used to an idea of a wait list.
Mm-hmm.
I am not
Sure, India is the
that
market.
thing about India,
Mm-hmm.
right? India wait list nahi chalta. You know, I mean, again, there could be that elite few which say let's support somebody,
Uh-huh.
but I think India is,
Not that market.
you give the product, 30 days later I'll give you money. It's the other way around. And more often than not, you know, you give the product, you go and beg for it. It's a very tough market to be,
Correct.
right? But they reward you very well once you've got that confidence that is there. That's when the hockey stick starts going up,
Got it.
right?
Is there any other validation technique that a hardware founder can use apart, like, because Indian mentality again it prevails into a founder also. They do not want to spend a lot of money in their prototype and then find out this is not what they
So
want.
let me tell you this, right? And this is a mistake that I know a few companies make.
Mm-hmm.
They are told that if you make a product,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you build 2,000 pieces,
Mm-hmm.
it's very cheap, right? It is cheaper for you to build 2,000 or 5,000 pieces, where
Correct.
it's, let's say, $1 per piece.
Correct.
But if you build 10 pieces, it will cost you $10.
Mm-hmm.
More, I've seen a lot of companies, and actually a lot of companies now, which go for that 5,000 pieces,
Mm-hmm.
right? At $1 piece, that's $5,000,
Correct.
right? If they build 10 pieces at $10, it's $100.
Correct.
This misplaced priority of, because your belief that you have achieved the perfect product, especially in a hardware, on day one, that you go and invest all your cash on that. So I'm giving you, this is a real problem that we have.
Correct.
Right? You got to use lean manufacturing principles,
Mm-hmm.
right? Cash is king,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if a proto, and this is for any founder, you know, cash in the bank is much better than cash in an unused inventory.
Correct.
People need to understand that. So be thrifty, even though per piece cost is high. Look at the net value that you're going to expend, and that's something you need to keep. So, talking about our founder who does not want to spend much on prototyping, you can't escape prototyping, right? You have to prototype because nothing, as I said, these are real products, nothing like a look and feel. And I would say, make sure today's world, make sure the look and feel is good, which means it must look like a good product in your hands. And if you are able to do that, right, and at a, even though you're spending more money per piece, that's a smart thing to do. You can't bypass that today, unfortunately. So I would rather say, if it's $12 to get a superior piece, spend that money, even though it's for 5 pieces, 10 pieces. It's worth it. At bulk, $1. वो बाद में देख लेंगे. Today, especially if you're putting, this is where I think China beats the pants out of India in terms of giving a product, even a prototype. The look and feel is spectacular. Now you got to aspire for that. Our technology is no less to anybody. We can't, we can't be happy with jugaad or chalta hai. That's something, that's the killer. It looks okay. You got to look at it, and it has to be, it has to have that aspirational feel. Even if you're selling it for $1, right? The glucometer that we talked about has to look $10, right? Then, oh, it's just $1. Yes, that's what it is. It's a different animal. Right?
That's especially
Look and feel, and if you're having user interface, it cannot be a plonky user interface. It's got to have premium look features, because today our customers look at it, they benchmark it to global products.
Got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Internet has ruined.
yeah, everybody, it's not that you have one button, press me. It's no longer that. So people have to look at that.
Got it. So do the basic gist of whatever a great founder does. Know what you're doing, have laser sharp focus, have a great team, prototype, but do not spend too much in it. Get real feedback from customers who are your customer, not the ideal people
Correct.
you're targeting. Now, I get, um, I start my journey. How long before my product becomes a sales seller? Like it sells for itself, and I don't have to promote it, or I don't have to spend a lot of money to. When will it
So,
become a success?
so I'll give you the story, right? This is for us, Metrics. We made very good, what we think is US FDA cleared technology products. We thought it's going to sell by itself. Why? Because, hey, US FDA cleared. It's going to sell. Damn thing doesn't sell.
Story of every entrepreneur.
Yeah, damn thing doesn't sell, right? When we were acquired by Beckman, the technology was bought over by Beckman. They did a spectacular job of identifying the user, building a marketing storyline. They put a lot of money into it. Boom! The revenue went up in multiples of tens, or hundreds, I would say, at this point of time. So this myth of a product selling itself never happens, right? So first, if a hardware entrepreneur decides to, I made the glucometer, it's now going to go because I have made the glucometer. When you make a product, and this is the most irritating thing for a product founder, is to say that damn thing doesn't sell for itself, right? Because everybody thinks this. So what happens is your budget is already at close to zero. You are at empty tank when you actually, that's when your uphill climb begins. We as product developers, I think, just because we go through this journey, we think this is the steepest journey. But to realize your vision, and I've seen this around, including my own experience, if you don't have adequate fuel in the tank, right? For example, I just use this number, there's no science to this. If you have $100, you need to 20, $30 is what you can spend for product development. The remaining is all for sales, marketing, everything, right? And this is an insight that we don't have often in our country, right? Because we think marketing happens. And today I know a lot of, again, there's Insta, there's so many things that the way that you can do cheap, right? So you need to invest money to actually, and the more technical the product is, the tougher to find your customer, right? So if it's a hardware product that looks at a niche customer, you got to find the customer, convince them day to day basis, convert them, right? And then, as you know, the funnel, push it through. It's all process. I mean, there are people to look at any of these things. But I pity the founder as I pity myself to think, you've developed a product, is going to sell. It's not going to happen. It's not going to
How
happen.
long is this journey?
It is.
Reaching a point wherein you're actually spending 30% of your revenue in research. The rest is going to marketing and sales and everything, and in offers also because our
So I would say, right from your early, this is what now we are telling founders, is when you think of the product, right? Let's assume you have $100, you spend only $30, because even for the prototype, etc., you have to allocate, you have to build the hype around it to sell it, right? So I would say this, if you have this ground up, saying that I am only part of the puzzle, I am not the puzzle, I think your chances of success are much higher, right? Because what we see is when they develop the product, they're already out of funds. Then this go to market story happens, right? You got to go to market constantly. And the professional, I would say the expert entrepreneurs, you would see them constantly selling, right? Those guys somehow are having lined up with customers, they engage, all of these things. Those are great stories to take, right? Where they have money and they themselves are going to market as the product is being developed, right? And that's something that's what every hardware company should aspire for. right? Because the customer is far early. Then the cost of acquisition is spread over time as opposed to one big spike.
Everyone imagines.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a definite thumb rule. And another thing that I think it's important for, it may be important for and I've seen this happen, is I think there's a responsibility being an entrepreneur, and I've been on the bad side of this. Is if your idea product fails, right, and you know it's going to fail, and you're still developing it, you are burning the bridge for the next generation of entrepreneurs, the next generation of funders, right? So this is not I make the money and scoot, right? Because if that idea, and I look at your face and say, this is what it is, and I get busted in the process, the next time I will not be so open, right? So we are talking about HbA1c test. This happened to us. I said, boss, we don't want any of your tests. So no, we have a superior technology. I have burnt my bridges. I've really burnt that experience with another company's HbA1c product. I don't want to touch yours. So we just, that whole customer segment, that opportunity, we just couldn't enter that market.
Well, someone else has switched.
Somebody, and they knew they were screwing it up.
So, sir, multiple times on this in this session, we have mentioned that cash is king, right? And it is very much true when a founder is coming from an Indian mentality. Do not spend money where it's not needed, right? Now, a very interesting point comes up. Should a founder pay for co-working place? And in case of a hardware founder, why should they pay for an incubator when typical startup lore of Steve Jobs says that you can pretty much do very well in a garage, right?
See, if you're operating in a US system
Mm-hmm.
and you have a garage, then do a garage, right? But what happens in our country, and I'll give you our example,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have, this place was set up as a hardware incubator,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a maker space. The vision is that people will come and make stuff here.
Correct.
But nobody wants to make stuff, right? They want to get you to make stuff. So, in fact, we have started a practice which is called Smart Fab, where we take away the burden of manufacturing from early stage startups. So they can do small, low volume manufacturing is something that we do today, right?
Great.
For a lot of our startups. So come, and that's part of what an incubator does, right? Especially if you're in a hardware incubator. Right? Just being in the ecosystem, hearing, this is for a, I guess for a software founder, a coffee shop is a good place. This is that coffee shop for hardware founders. Being and hearing the system and understanding. I mean, you really need help. So you got to be with the right partners all along the way to get that help to do it. So I think this is going to, an incubator, today, your chances, you're just improving your chances of success, right? Maybe a seat is a seat is a seat, but there is more in an incubator, where being in the ecosystem, the exposure that you get, the access to some of the technologies. I've heard stories about Eden, where a medical device hardware startup founder told me that the best advice for building that hardware came from a electronic superbike maker.
Okay.
Right? This cross pollination will never happen if you're not in an incubator.
Got it.
And in fact, one of the things that the place that we do, coffee is free, you're welcome to chat, exchange views. We organize events so that there's a lot of cross pollination. You take that opportunity, I think this is something that is good.
Got
And
it.
as I said, I think you got to be aware, talk to people who can help you. Knowledge partners, having them is super critical for you to go forward.
Correct. So basically, it's more about increasing the probability of you bouncing the the next person who can give you a better idea or a better feedback.
It is about probability of success.
Correct.
Being part of an incubator, knowledge partners improves that.
Got it. And the journey is already hard. Why make it harder by being isolated at some
Correct.
place, right?
Correct.
Got it. Now, there must be some costs involved, right?
Yes.
And I'm very much interested in understanding the economics of running an incubator.
Okay.
And why aren't there many there out there?
Because it's a loss-making business.
Okay.
Right? An incubator, any person running an incubator would think that somebody with wads of cash runs something like this. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
um, just like a startup. Now I have to follow up on a startup to pay cash,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you the facilities that they get,
Mm-hmm.
nothing is free,
Correct.
right? So it's not some chowdhury that you come and sit and do stuff.
Correct.
So the big reason that an incubator, the economics still has not reached a point where a startup is able to afford an incubator to get premium service.
Correct.
And premium service is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to have a clean work facility. You need to have something that makes you and your team come to work. If you get a junkyard, then that's what, if you pay for a junkyard, you'll get a junkyard.
Correct.
That's really what it's all about. So and this is a very new concept. When I
Mm-hmm.
say new concept, 10 years or so, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
looking at Eden.
Mm-hmm.
When we were doing our own life science startup, we had to set up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Today, you don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Today, there's an infrastructure. You're able to plug, play, get started, do things faster. For that, you have to be willing to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Otherwise, it's tough.
How much are we talking?
At,
General industry.
at, at, at Eden,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you we are around 10,000, 11 to 12,000 per seat
Mm-hmm.
kind of a range.
Got it. And in terms of impact,
Mhm.
what would you say the impact of being here versus not being here in the hardware founder's journey would look like?
So I talked about the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
That is an intangible,
Correct.
right? That's
Correct.
what this makes happen.
Correct.
If you're not here, right, and there are people. I'm not going to say that you have to be at Eden to be
Correct.
successful,
Correct.
right? I think there are founders, and that path is a little bit more difficult,
Mm-hmm.
right? For example, because I came to Eden, plugged into the ecosystem, I reached out for vendor partners. It's all happened very easily,
Correct.
and people knew the place. So coming here is not a problem. But that is something you will miss if you are outside. You got to learn everything yourself.
Correct. So I was reading a study a few times back, and that study was in the US. I'm pretty sure it's replicable here also. That the chances of a success of a B2B SaaS companies grew by like 70% if they were in a co-working place rather than working either remotely or from a remote office.
I would agree to that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Simply because, as I said, these things get people together.
Correct.
And great ideas happen when people are together.
Correct.
And incubators are that space.
Correct. Because you don't have to reinvent a lot of those wheels which delay that entire process of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I gave you that example, right?
Correct.
A medical device guy told me that
Mm-hmm.
because of Eden, he was able to talk to an automotive engineering electronic guy to solve his problem.
Correct.
This is
So-
real. This is not even hearsay.
Okay, so not to push you, give me the time advantage a person would get if they're working out of an incubator. How much time are you saving them?
I think it's a good guess as any. So we will definitely knock off, I would say, 30-40% of what they would do by themselves,
Wow.
right? Again, because you don't have to hunt.
Correct.
Most of the thing that is there. So the example I gave you for manufacturing,
Mm-hmm.
because we are here, people come to us and they've told us, you've saved us so much time in unproductive time going and hunting for things to happen.
Correct.
Everything is here.
Got it. Nice. So hardware has been the same everywhere. All economies almost follow the same principles of growth, right? And we have seen with the companies in the US more so that the government is one of the biggest benefactors and the backers of these hardware startups, right? In India, I am assuming that is the trend, right? Could you shed more
Yes
light?
and no.
Okay.
Right? Our company is opening up. So defense, for example, drone companies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of traction from defense. And
Mhm.
we all saw recent events that validated that kind of a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
The more they open up space tech,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is there, but it's not there 100% yet. That's going to happen where the government would be starting. I mean, like SpaceX,
Mhm.
right now is running literally the operations for NASA in terms
Correct.
of putting people up and getting them down.
Correct.
as they open it up with the new ideas that we see today,
Mm-hmm.
I think we will see more and more participation. So I think we are getting there,
Mm-hmm.
where they're going to open up, and then maybe things will happen.
Correct. And I feel things are already happening in the drone tech
Correct.
space, right?
Drone tech, that's huge, especially defense.
Correct.
Right?
Night
There
vision
was the
also.
story of this Bits Pilani Hyderabad startup which made this particular drone. There's kids are still in the hostel, and they have established a company, or they're just coming out of this, and they've already got a big contract.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes what happens is you need to have a government, which is pretty much the biggest buyer,
Mm-hmm.
have proactive policies that support good products, because once that is there, the founder is motivated, investors are motivated to say we have a revenue that's going to come out.
Correct.
The more transparent this becomes and the more sure this becomes, you have that you have a chance of creating those companies.
Correct. And I feel after this recent fiasco that we have across the border, and after those stories of us selling to countries in Southeast Asia and
The missiles, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
BrahMos
yeah.
technology, the Philippines is interested.
Correct, correct. So I feel that will open more doors for people outside India to have faith in Indian manufacturing, right? Because
Absolutely. Right. If you are a successful, genuine story in a tough market like India,
Mhm.
where you are able to provide value, this is going to sell by itself.
Correct.
Right? I'm kidding. I mean, you still have to go and sell it. Nothing is going to sell by itself.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big plus.
Correct.
Especially our technology going to neighbors who may benefit from it. It could be drone tech, it could be medical devices, industrial automation.
Mhm.
In fact, some of our companies are setting up factories in other markets in Southeast Asia,
Mhm.
just because that's where manufacturing is better. So they do it here, they do it there. I mean, there are so many things that can happen.
Correct. We talked about incubators, right?
Mhm.
W- Tell us more about the role of knowledge partners in introducing these products in these Southeast Asian countries, or how would that happen?
Look, if you have somebody
Mhm.
who can get you into a market, right, then that's an opportunity that you should take. If we are
Mhm.
talking about go to market, it's a
Mhm.
famous thing.
Mhm.
A lot of these happens because people with experience come to the table and say, hey, I can partner with you. I mean, it has to be a win-win for both.
Mhm.
Sometimes the startup says, nope, I will not, I'll do everything myself. We can't help them. But if there is a win-win partnership, then that will really help you take the product out to these places. So having the right knowledge partner is going to be crucial for that.
Got it. Um, there's also a stage wherein hardware, cash is king, every penny counts, money is not in surplus, especially in a country like India. B2C, we have seen recent cases where someone like Atomberg has succeeded after like 10 years of grinding, but we are still competing with Chinese made products.
Mhm.
Money is hard to come by in a country like India. We are in amidst an AI race, right? And India is soon going to become a AI implementation hub,
Mhm.
just as with apps. How is the guidance for investments, especially VC funding in India for deep tech and startups?
I think we are seeing more of that now,
Okay.
right? It's not all doomsday,
Mm-hmm.
because people also realize, and a lot of family offices, there is a lot of initiative that happens where people realize that we need to invest here, we need to give it a longer time window.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not all there,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely there is a trend that we are seeing, specifically from a lot of these people with a longer term vision.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if you're going the regular VC route, they have 7 years or something like that, and that's a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's their time window that's there. But this will allow us to do more things, and so I think it is improving.
Okay.
All the problems you said are there,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I would submit that this problem, for example, today there are this AI, tomorrow there will be something else.
Correct.
So it's not going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
If that was not there, we could have succeeded. I don't think we should ever take that. You got to compete. And if it's a good idea and if it's an innovative idea, then you have a chance to succeed.
Got it. Any fund houses that you can share on the top of your tongue that fund in specifically hardware
Nothing,
startup?
nothing really specific on hardware. I know there are few places that have that are investing in deep tech, that have their own incubation places that are there. So I think there's enough in the market that is there. And for example, IKP themselves puts in money into deserving startups in the hardware space. So that's something that we do. But there's plenty out there. I mean, it's not something that I cannot say one or two.
Got it.
There are good guys who invest in deep tech.
Got it. With that long time horizon.
Yes, they're there. They're there with people.
Got it. Um, so we have discussed how a founder should think before starting a hardware tech. What is the time horizon that it takes? We have discussed that India is at a very good position wherein it brand might sell outside India, just the way Japanese and Chinese had their branding. And we have now talked about VC funding, which is becoming easy and easy, right?
I would say easier. It's getting available.
Available, yeah.
Yeah.
It never gets easy for hardware
Yeah,
founders. Now let's talk about the exit horizons, right? What are the various exit opportunities available to these hardware founders? What is the general time milestones or timelines for that in your experience?
So one early on we talked about hardware companies spending the grind of about 15 years, right? You're no longer a startup at 15 years,
Yeah.
but you have to go through that grind. I mean, there are inspirational people out in the market who say, do you have to exit? Right? You need to give your investors an exit,
Correct.
but do you have to exit? Right? Which means, are you able to buy everybody out, and then you can choose to go the public route or keep it private? That world is out there, right? So for example, the exit that the company I was a part of, which is Reometrics, had was when Beckman Coulter bought out the technology.
Correct.
In some sense, that was an exit for
Correct.
us. So I would, there again, right, what I have seen in the market with my limited experience is sometimes you need to figure out whether you want to take an offer that comes today or a proverbial offer that comes tomorrow, right? Or not even tomorrow, 5 years from now, because there is that window of opportunity. There are ideas that is there. That's something that you'll have to weigh in and see, is now a good time or tomorrow a good time. If your product is adding value, right, you will get an exit because you're exciting people, you're exciting customers, etc. So there will be a way by which you can monetize that. You should decide whether you want to take it now or later.
Okay. And in your experience, what is that? If I have to say 100 hardware startups started, how much of them got acquired? How much of them are still remaining and becoming big company?
I'm not going to, I'm not going to give you a quotable number there. But from our experience, whatever we have seen at IKP, right, it takes about 10 to 15 years, right? It's not for you to come to a point where you are able to A, sell, B, give or get acquired, the whole thing get acquired. It is going to take that time.
Okay.
Right? But you'll have to be up to date in technology. If your technology goes down because you have not upgraded it, then you lose that window of opportunity. So is it there? I think it's there. But how you navigate it, when you navigate it, what you want to do is up to you.
Got it. A rabbit hole from that past question, right? It generally said that if 100 startups are starting out, and it is general, not specific to hardware, around 90% will fail in the first 2 years, right? What is that number for hardware startups, and what are the biggest mistakes that you see hardware founders make while executing?
See, this is a tough one, right? I'll tell you why it's a tough one. Because nobody wants to accept failure.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody wants to say, I have failed.
Yeah.
But the lessons that we have learned, and I have learned, it's okay to fail. Because it's important that you live to fight another day with that idea or a new idea. Right? We have founders here who have stayed at IKP in their second company, having failed the first time. But all the lessons, the learnings, everything is in their ecosystem that they're able to do going forward. So I think per se the smartest thing to do is, if you're going to fail, fail quick. Correct. And know that didn't hunt. It's probably because your idea's time has not come. Correct. It's not because it's a bad idea. Correct. It's not because your time has just not come. So being aware of that, you have to be a little bit zen, right? It's okay to, and unfortunately, we have something called a founders wall here, entrepreneur alley. We celebrate entrepreneurs. We don't celebrate a successful or a failed startup. I think it's very important to have that distinction. And failing a startup is okay. Because if you go down that path, you will burn your credit cards, you'll burn relationship with family, you will burn your own savings, everything, because you're chasing a mythical creature, also known as a unicorn.
So we've discussed VC funding, right? Now, and you said that it's not easy, but it's coming up. It's there, right? And it's far better than when you started, when you were doing it in 2006. What about government? What are the various state governments or Indian government even doing to push entrepreneurship in this particular strategic segment?
So I think governments are, to be honest, coming up with schemes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Escalate in Karnataka.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good storyline that is there.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at a scheme with government for women entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Central government, there are plenty of grants and the schemes that they look at.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking at DBT, Science and Department of Science and Technology, MIT. There are other plenty of places that are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this ANRF that potentially will also fund a lot of these deep tech startups and ideas that is there. So it's not that the government is not there,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody is also now being cautious of what is the return on investment that I get,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and this is why I think it's very important that we don't burn these bridges,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Because once the trust is lost in the system,
Mm-hmm.
and there are bad apples,
Yeah.
right? We have had experiences at our facility of bad apples that have been there, and that really spoils for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's life. You can't do much about it, but it is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the government is doing, as in any government, can it do more? Of course, it can do more,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because as a country, we don't yet acknowledge the role product development, R&D pays. So we have to get more in there.
Mm-hmm.
How we do, what is the risk capital that we can take? All of those are questions.
Mm-hmm. And are there any expectations from government, or is there something that you are expecting from the government to change in the next?
I think they're making those efforts, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ANRF is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
There is an R&D fund that has come. So they are making the effort.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens is when you put a strategy, you need good tactics to execute it.
Mm-hmm.
So how they're going to execute it, I think we're going to wait and watch.
Got it. So, in this entire conversation, we have discussed about founders who want to start. Why should they come to incubators? Why should they have strategic partners, knowledge partners? What is the government doing? What is the funding like? I would now want to talk about the future, right? Now, and now I want to talk on behalf of a founder who wants to start in hardware, but is privy of it, right? And let's start with the most basic question that these soon to be founders or people on the verge of they have. Why are there so less hardware startups in India?
So it's hard. It's there in the name itself, right? It's hard. Building a product.
Mm-hmm.
Let's, if you look about it, and let us say there is a person with an idea for a startup.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of our workforce is also not necessarily with a safety net.
Correct.
Right? So for them to overcome this barrier, because on one side they have that it could be a core technology company, there's GCCs happening, there's a boom across that they have. So they have many options
Mm-hmm.
where they can go
Mm-hmm.
and say, I would like to do that. You must really be desperate to go find this startup to do it, with knowing fully well you're going to jump off a cliff.
Correct.
There's no look before you leap here. You leap and then you start looking where to land, what's going to happen, right? So it's a tough game. And that's why I feel that the chances of success are low. I mean, you must really be motivated to make the jump.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, right, I see this as a inverted parabola, right?
Mm-hmm.
There the young Turks who are very enthusiastic, who have, as we say in chemistry, the activation energy to jump out,
Mhm.
right? Or you have gone through life's commitments and then you are at a place where now there is stability that you're going to do and do that.
Mhm.
These probably are, you need to have some kind of a security, whether you like it or not, that's reality,
Mhm.
right? Not everybody is with an entrepreneurial mindset. You got to find the right group of people, the right team,
Mhm.
right? Otherwise it's going to end up bad for you. So I think it's the reason that, and as we show more genuine success stories,
Mhm.
and as we provide, knowledge networks, incubators that says, take, you come up with the idea, we'll figure out how to succeed
Mhm.
together because we back your idea, then you will see more people come,
Mhm.
right? And going early, even into college levels, etc., and encouraging people to start thinking different
Mhm.
is going to really help you. It's essentially a funnel building.
Correct.
How do you build this funnel of enough people that you get a few who actually take the job?
Got it. That being said, then there is also, like I've multiple times mentioned on this session, there is some allure to having a good looking, forward thinking, AI based software app,
Hmm.
B2C, there's some allure to it. And founders, early founders, first time founders generally are drawn to that, right? So, what I would want you to do now is make a pitch for people who are in hard sciences to build in hard sciences. Maybe share what are the great opportunities that lie, and how the biggest companies that are ever built are generally hardware companies, and generally not software companies, right? So maybe talk about that.
That may not be true because
Yeah, yeah.
currently with valuation you have Microsoft. There's a
Correct.
whole
Correct.
range that is true. But see, it is not, I still maintain it's not a hardware versus a software,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because today there is no hardware without software,
Correct.
right? And I think it is about the urgent need to solve a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to solve a real problem, you need to have a real product,
Correct.
right? And that's where I'm coming from.
Correct.
So if you don't have real product, you can't solve everything in the virtual world. You have to solve problems in the real product. Yes, it is absolutely alluring for you to do something in a AI space or anything like that, but for those who think real and who want to solve it, please use all the AI technologies. You should. You'll be foolish not to. But this is the game for you because this gives you genuine satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
Putting a product in the hand of a customer and the customer using it. I'll never forget when I took a product that we made to Raigad in Maharashtra and giving it to an ASHA worker, the joy that is there
Mm-hmm.
of a real product making, hopefully, real difference.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to beat it, right? So I would say I'm not here to advise anybody because it's your life.
Correct.
One of the things to realize in an incubator is you can only give gyan.
Mm-hmm.
You may say take a left, the startup founder will go right.
Mm-hmm.
Because why? Because she or he felt that's the best turn to make. No debates.
Mm-hmm.
It's your journey. But I would say if you are still thinking you want to solve a real problem, right, then you should consider doing a hardware real product. That's where I think the excitement lies.
Got it. Okay, so that is the general, uh, if people have passion for it, they should do it, right? But do you feel the market is ready to entertain such products or those founders? Because there'll always be product from China that will come into the
They'll
market.
always be there,
Correct.
right? That's what I'm saying, right? Once our thought and competition cannot be China.
Mm-hmm.
Our thought and competition, I know I'm naive when I say this, has to be excellence.
Mm-hmm.
If you are the best in class, you will be the best in class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You will get that. So I would say if you are looking at it, there will always be problems,
Mm-hmm.
right? When even the earliest great stories that is there are always options that
Correct.
people will have. And as one advisor told me, the biggest competition
Mm-hmm.
to a product is the customer does not want to buy your product. is not A versus B, it's A versus zero,
Mm-hmm.
right? So creating the need, making them buy it, or satisfying the need so that it's like falling off a log, is what the journey is all about. That's why I'm saying it's very important for a hardware founder. I have an idea,
Mm-hmm.
so you should buy it. Nobody's going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing of how do you convince somebody that this is a good idea and then taking to market, that's that's thrill. See, if you look at the way technology has been happening, right? Industrial revolution started in UK,
Yeah.
right? That's where it's all hardware,
Correct.
that's there. And then technology revolution, states, you had Japan. I mean, China just leapfrogged everybody,
Correct.
right? In the last few years, they look at it. That's not a fluke. They have put in a lot of effort, and then in 20 years, they're able to show what they have been able to achieve,
Correct.
right? And I think in that sequence, and I think Vietnam is doing a
Yeah.
terrific job right now. So globally, before it used to be the ASEAN countries. Now Vietnam is doing a terrific job with respect to manufacturing and providing alternative. The great thing is our country is also in that list of things, because I read the Apple phones, 17 phones are all going to be manufactured from
Correct.
here, right? So as we develop the temperament
Mm-hmm.
for not only workforce assembling,
Mm-hmm.
but also providing the ecosystem of suppliers and making this,
Mm-hmm.
I think this could be a winning proposition,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I would say it's not all hunky dory. I think we all need to dig deep to
Mm-hmm.
provide that ecosystem for success, where every hardware, I mean, you go up the supply chain and you own the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think we have a good chance of succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is you see the trends.
Mm-hmm.
People are now thinking deeper. Chip designs are happening here. And our prime minister made the announcement saying there's going to be a chip that's going to come. This is the way to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Things will happen. But um, the market is there,
Mm-hmm.
right? The government is opening up. They want to do the market. Consumers will come once they have the government. I think things will happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not that I'm all. I just want us to be patient with it and give it the due respect, because that's the only way you become a big economy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make things, and you got to discover. You got to invent things, and that's when the true product revolution is going to happen.
Got it. Last two questions. What happens if India doesn't become the hardware creating country?
We will wither away, right? Um, so that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
We will wither away because we don't, we just buy products, and
Mm-hmm.
at some point of time, if you don't create value,
Mm-hmm.
right, which is what I think hardware creation happens. I mean, today, if I were, and I'm not an economist, my armchair economist hat, if you look at one of the big challenges the states is facing,
Mm-hmm.
is they don't have the ability to make product. They ideate, get it done,
Mm-hmm.
and the country, in their opinion, is going south.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It may or may not be the case, but that's the story that is there, because they feel manufacturing is not there. If we don't create products,
Mm-hmm.
right, I think as a country we will wither away,
Mm-hmm.
because we are not there. We are not creating the IP. We are not creating things that matter,
Mm-hmm.
right? You will create things in the software space, etc., but you got to create the whole ecosystem. You can't be very surface,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
You can't just sift sand and get gold. You
Correct.
got to spend that time. You got to
Correct.
dig deep.
Correct. It's telling that even today, like it was only few years ago that our entire country got tap waters. Before that was not happening, or the entire country, 100% of it got toilets at home, right? In a country like that, where grassroots level pe there are so many hardware problems, and we are not a creating country, like the entire yellow line got delayed because we did not have coach making facility.
Correct. If we don't do it ourselves, who are we going to do it? Who are we going to blame?
Okay, and obviously I don't want to end this session on a doom note. Can India create hardware?
There's no question, right? I think this should not. I don't think we. It's in. See, this is what happens when two Indians at some point of time. Oh, Desh mein, this is all not good. Not at all,
Mhm.
right? I think more people, especially people are talking about it, people are feeling this, people want to make a difference, right? So I don't think we should say, can India create? India will create. India is creating. Now, the greed is, can you create faster? Can you move things faster? Can we have an ecosystem where things can happen faster? I think that's a genuine aspirational goal for everybody. I don't think at any point of time I would say, we will not create. I think we have historically we've been creating things, right? We have been going at the fundamentals of science. It's there in the ethos, right? So I think it's just not something that I would worry about. I think eventually we will get there. I mean, you look at historically, we've been pretty much half the GDP of the world in some part of our own history. To go there, we have to tap into that part of our ethos where we become a country that makes, looks at new technology and creates new technology, right? And I think we have it in us, and we will get there.
Got it.
I mean, if you look at Mahindra's, right? I was actually very thrilled to see an Australian broadcaster talking about the EV, their new EV Evo 6, or the vehicle that they have. They are amazed. They're saying this is the best value we have seen, right? And they are testing it in Australia, and people are thrilled with the bullet, right? And you've seen enough videos of how globally it's inspiring people. And so there are these stories of where we are sending products outside, and these are all products. The Mahindra example, it's created here.
Correct.
Right? It's an international product created here.
Correct.
Right? So it is well within, it's already within our reach, where some of these areas that we are looking at. So I think any startup founder, right, looking at some of their, and I would say very recently, Forus, Remedio, they are putting products out, hardware products for the US, that is made from here.
Correct.
Right? So this is something that's already happening.
Correct.
So my take is, this is the sign, this is the, I would say, the early, whatever the word for, the early sunrise that you are seeing, right? It's the dawn.
Correct.
And we have a nice, beautiful, lovely day ahead of us. We just need to make sure that we are ready to go enjoy the sun. That's what I would feel.
Nice. Hello, everyone. We are When We Engage. This is a podcast where we talk to industry leaders about their industries, and we help startup founders like yourselves start in those particular industries. IKP Eden has been there for 10 years. They are a hardware accelerator and incubator based out of Bangalore, and we are at their office recording this today.